this is starting working, so there was not any error. Yeah, so now in our we can like split this terminal and in the other terminal. Yeah, so now inside of this, since because this is the our client folder and this was our backend part basically for the socket IO functionality. The other notification app, the whole of this notification app entirely is the client folder basically. So now we'll be writing here npm install socket.io client, and we'll run this command. It will take some time and install the socket.io client for our client folder. Yeah, since this has been done, and since we have used 3000 port number, we'll like change it to 5000 because we'll be using this same port number for our client side also. So yeah, we'll save this, and now we'll go to our source folder, and inside of this source folder we'll go to our main file app.js, and inside the app.js file basically we can go to our main.js file only because that was our main file, because it was basically having all the functionality. So let's go to our main.js file only, and inside of this we'll write import io from socket.io.client. Yeah, and now after this we'll be writing an use effect hook. So for that let's write use effect, and inside this use effect we'll be having an arrow function, inside of which we will write const socket, create a socket, and we'll write io and http localhost 5000, because we are using the same for that for the server side also. And yeah, now we save this. See, we can check if we create a new browser and open a new browser and just write localhost 3000. So basically our our React app is running on localhost 3001, but the other app is running on 3000. So when we create a new or open a new browser, we'll automatically see the console, or in the console it is written someone has connected, and whenever we just close this browser, it will say someone has left. Yeah, so that's because when the index.js file, this is the server file, and when we go to our or when we go to http.localhost 3000, then this io.listen, because this io server socket io is listening on port 5000, and our main.js we have specified that we need to check on for localhost 5000, and if it is that, then the socket the value of this will be put inside the socket variable, and this use effect will run at least once because the dependency array is empty. So that's because because the dependency array is empty, this use effect will run once, and this localhost 5000 IO will have its value put inside the socket variable, and when these two will get connected, automatically this console.log someone has connected will run because of this socket variable, and if someone disconnects, then someone has left will automatically be console.logged. Yeah, so now after doing this, we can also like check by writing console.log, and inside this we'll write socket just to see what is inside this socket variable, and when we save this, Yeah, so now we will go to our main.js file, and we'll see what is actually this socket and what is actually inside this socket variable. So for that, let's console.log, and inside this we'll write socket. And now, yeah, so now we will go to our browser and open localhost 3000, and when we go to our source file, we can see a socket is written here, and that is actually the socket object. And when we open this, we can see a different bunch of different types of functions and flags. And especially here we can see id. So every socket has a unique id, and it has flags that it is an object, along with connected and disconnected, true and false. So here the connected is true, that means the socket is connected to the react app, and if this disconnected is false, that means yeah, it is disconnected, it is not disconnected. And other than that, these are a couple of functions. So this is basically what is inside this socket variable. So now we will add a bunch of different other functionalities for our project. Yeah, so now we will be using different events for our socket file and for our functionality part. And for that, first of all, we'll go to our index.js file, and we'll create maybe another we can create a socket.on. Maybe yeah. So we'll write io.emit, and this io.emit function does is what it actually does is it emits the message or anything to each and every socket or each and every different users. So this is the functionality of emit, and inside this we will add an event name. So we can add like first event. And now other than that, we'll write some message like hello, hello, this is Ishan, hello, this is me, maybe. And now when we save this, we will go to our main.js file, and inside this we'll write socket.on inside this, because we now want because we now in our react app we now want to listen to that particular event. So inside this we'll write, yeah, we'll write first event in our main.js part. First event, I hope the spelling is correct. First event, yeah. And uh, other than that, we'll provide it a variable or parameter maybe, and give it an arrow function. And now we will console.log msg message. Now what actually will happen is this socket.on, basically this will listen to this first event that was emitted by the index.js file or from the socket folder. And this as soon as it listens to this first event, this hello, this is me message automatically comes inside this message variable, and we're just console.logging this message variable, and this whole thing itself is getting console logged. So now when we save this and go to our terminal and open the source code, here you can see in the console we can find hello, this is me. So yeah, this it has listened to that first event, it has listened to that event of the name first event. Yeah, so now we'll do is, yeah, so now we need to go to our index.js file, and inside of this we will provide it, we'll basically remove this io.emit function, and we'll just uh, write let online users, and this will be an array. Yeah, so now we'll create a variable of online users, and this will be nothing but an empty array. And it will contain all the users that are online and haven't logged out, or basically or haven't closed the browser. So the for all those users, it will be present inside this online users array. So now what we'll do is we'll create a function of add new user, or you can say const add new user, and we will be having a username for the new user, and also a socket id. So these two things will be already there for the new user, and inside of this we'll check if the um, new user is not present in the online users, and if it is not present, then we'll basically write users, and will give user dot username is equal to username, and we'll also check by doing and we'll also check if online online users dot push will also push actually the value. This online user dot push, inside of this will push username along with socket id. Yeah. So now what exactly that will happen is when we create a new user, or basically by this function add new user, a new user will be created with the username and along with socket id, and we'll check if it is not inside this online user, and if it is not inside, then then we will basically check or create user dot username equal to username, and we'll also push this new user inside this online user array, so that whenever in the future that user logs in, then it does not create another a new user for that for the same user, as then it will have two different socket IDs, so that we do not want. And so we'll just push this currently new user created new user into this online user array, and then in the future also we can we can just have or use that socket id for that user only, and we need not need to have two different socket ids for the same user. So now we'll also do the same for removing the user, and for that we'll be writing another function of the name const remove user, and we'll give it a variable of we'll give it a socket id for removing the user, and inside this we'll write online users is equal to online users dot filter, and inside this we'll give it a variable of user, and user dot user dot socket id is not equal to socket id. Yeah. So basically here we are filtering out in remove user. Basically what will happen is the user that we want to remove will provide its socket id, and for that particular socket id this online users array will filter out a new array that will not have the socket id that we have mentioned here, and so the online users will have only those users that we have for those for those that we haven't provided the socket id variable, or we haven't provided the socket id. So except for this user that has the socket id, every other users will be present inside this online users, as this will be a newly generated array by the use of online users dot filter. This filter method will create a new array by removing this by removing the user which is having the socket id of this mentioned here. And now we will also write a function of the name const get user, and we'll write, give it a username, because it is, since we are getting a user, we'll provide it with a username, and then an arrow function, inside of which we will be having a return of online users dot find. Basically we'll be finding the user by its username, and we'll write user such that user dot username is equal to username. Yeah. So by this method, we will, or function of get user, we can find the user by their username. Yeah. So now we will be using socket variables in place of these variables, and like when we want to, when we want the user to connect, like here, like io dot connection. One more thing, we need to write all of this outside this io dot on, because these are functions and these should be declared outside this io dot on function. So we'll copy this till get user, and we'll place this outside here, and we will also be removing this online let online users to is equal to an empty array, and we'll also place this outside this io dot on. And now, yeah, now what we will do is this io dot on with the event connection, we will also create a new event of the name. Let's remove this first, someone has connected, and we'll write socket dot on for listening from the client side, and we'll write new user, give it an event of new user, and we'll pass username and give it a arrow function. And now we'll run this add new user function, and we'll give two parameters to this add new user function, because it is accepting username along with socket id. So first parameter will be username, and the second parameter will be socket.id. And we are using socket.id because we already have a parameter socket for this io.on. So for getting the id of that particular socket, we'll just use socket.id, and this username we'll just get from this new user from the socket.on method, because this socket.on will actually listen for this new user event, and as soon as it listens to this event from the client, or you can say the React app, it will automatically run this add new user function, and automatically this add new user function will take username and socket id as the parameters, and automatically push this add new this new user to this online users array. Yeah. So we can also remove this console.log that someone has left, and just write remove user, because now, because in the case of disconnect we'll be removing the user, so we'll use this function. So we'll write remove user, and inside this we'll just pass socket.id, because it is just taking one parameter socket id. So we'll just write socket.id, and we'll close this. And it is all, these all are coming from this primary parameter socket. So even if this socket.on disconnect does not have any parameter, and but since this all is inside this io.on and it has a parameter of socket name, variable name socket, so we can easily use socket.id, and all of these functions will be valid for this socket only. So yeah, now, yeah, and now we will go to our main.js for our React app, and inside that, inside this use effect, basically this use effect, what we'll do is we'll remove this whole message, because that was just for like checking if the events are working properly. So we'll remove this, and first of all we'll create a new use state hook, basically const socket and set socket, and we will give it initially set its value to null. So initially this socket will be null, and after this use effect will run, we will set the socket value to this new value. So exactly what we will do is we'll just write inside this use effect hook, remove this, and we'll write set socket, and we'll set the socket to this value. So this will be our new socket value. So basically whenever this page will render for once, this whole the new socket will be, this socket variable will be automatically set to this new socket value that we were getting there at that point. Okay, so now other than that also we'll create one more use effect hook, use effect, and inside this use effect we will basically give it a socket dot emit, and will emit for the event new user, because when we want to create a new user, we will be emitting this new user event to all the other sockets, and in the index.js, when this new user event will be listened, then add new user function will be called, and this functionality of adding a new user will be performed. So here we will basically socket.emit new user, and we need to pass user, because here the user is the username, and in its dependency array we'll be passing socket along with user. So these two values will, when these two values change, then only this use effect will render this function new user, and new user will on and this makes sense because when the value of this user changes, that means itself we have added new user. So we need to we need to emit this new user event and create or add a new user to that new online users array. And same will happen for the socket, because when the socket value has changed, that means that there is a new socket id, and that itself means there is a new user. So this will work, this will automatically, then use effect will again render and perform this socket.emit functionality. Now we will save this. So now after doing that, we need to send some data from through navbar component as well as the card component, and we can do that by passing a socket with the value of socket to our navbar component, and along with that we'll also be sending the same socket as well as user to the card component. So let's do that also. Socket is equal to socket, and user is equal to user. Yeah, now we'll save this, and now basically the when we go to our card component, we will like also have post. Yeah, so when we go to our card component, we will uh, get those values or get those data in form of props. So for that we'll have post along with socket and user. So now the socket and user from the main.js is now passed to our card.js file, and now we will basically when we have clicked the like button, there is an on click function which like calls or basically runs the handle notification function. So in the handle notification function, we will send basically use a socket.emit, and we will emit this event, and the event will be send notification. So in the event it will be send notification. So send notification. Yeah. So this event will be emitted to all the other users and all the other sockets, and we will be using sender. So we will be using sender name along with sender name will be nothing but the user, and receiver name, and receiver name will be post dot username, and we will also specify a type, and in place of this handle notification we will send type as a parameter. So now this will work, and this receiver name will be coming from data.js where we have used this post, and from here we will be using the username and full name in place of this card. Here the sender name will be the user that we have got from the React app, and the receiver name will be the post or username, basically the username that to whom we have basically done or performed the event. So that will be the username for that particular post of the person. So yeah, so this type will be nothing but what type of notification we are sending. Like if it is a if we have liked the button, then the type will be 1. If we have like clicked on the comment button, then the type will be 2. And if we have like shared the post, or have just clicked the post button or shared button, then the type would be 3. So we will basically go to our on click function of this handle notification, and here with the handle notification we'll send the type basically. So if it is if we are sending the type to be 1, then the type will be 1, and we will automatically understand that the this is for liking the picture, or basically the event is of liking of pressing the like button. Similarly, we will do the same for all the other 2 buttons also. We'll copy this and we will paste this along with the comment button also. But in place of this, we will just 1 second. Yeah, we will give it a type of 2, and same for the share button also. But here we will be giving it a type of 3. Now yeah, so now we will be going to our let's save this, and when we go to a browser we can see this. But there should be one more thing. In our main.js file we should specify if the socket.emit is equal to new user, then we need to do that. So we need to place a question mark here, that if there is a new socket, then only we are going to emit a new user. So now yeah, now this will work. And now the next thing that we want to do is we'll go to our index.js file of our post basically of our socket folder, and we will receive or basically listen to that event. And for that we will be like writing going inside this, and we'll perform socket.on, but this will be not for the new user event, it will be for the send notification event. So let's do that. And first of all let's give it a socket.on, and inside this we will be using this send notification, and as a parameters we will be passing 3 things. First one will be the sender name, the second one will be the receiver name, and the last one will be type. So these three things will be passed, and this will be an arrow function. So inside this arrow function we will take a variable with the name receiver, and the receiver will be accepting the value, will be of get user. Basically we'll find the receiver by using the get user method or the function, and inside this we'll just send the receiver name. So receiver name, and after that we will use io.to basically, and after that we will use io.to for sending this notification to a specific user. So for that we will be using receiver along with socket id, receiver.socket id, sorry, socket id, and we'll emit this to that particular receiver socket id, and we will send the notification as we will perform get notification, yeah, and this will be having sender name along with the type. So yeah, let's put semicolons um, to all of them. Yeah, and now we'll save this. Yeah, so now we will go to our navbar.js, and we will be taking the basically when in the main.js when we were sending the socket data through the navbar, we will also be accepting that data. So as we were sending this socket data from our navbar component, we will also be accepting it to our navbar file, and for that we will be accepting this socket, and we will also be creating basically a use state hook. So for that, because we need to have notifications, and we need to send a particular type of notification to this user, and this user will be having a navbar, and the navbar will have a socket of its own. So for that we will be doing is we'll create a use state hook with the name notifications and set notifications, and this will be initially set to null, basically nothing but an empty array. And after that we will create a use effect hook, and inside this use effect hook we will perform some functionality. The first one will be socket.on, listening to the first one will be listening to the event that we have sent to this user, that was get notification. So this event that we have emitted to this particular receiver.socket id user, we will be listening to this get notification event, and for that we will write socket.on function, and inside of this we will mention the event that was get notification, yeah. And after this we will be sending data, and this data will be taking, inside this we will be setting this notification value, set notifications, to a particular to basically nothing but uh, previous, and this will be an array of we have basically destructured this um, object of previous and along with the data. So and for this use effect we will be using inside this dependency array we will be writing socket, sorry, yeah. So now basically whenever the socket value, or basically this for this navbar component, whenever the value or the socket changes, then only this use effect function will run, and it will listen to this get notification event of this of this particular user, and then it will set the notification to the data that we have sent. And this previous and data, this is nothing but this will take the values from this data variable only and use it for setting the value of the notification to this currently sent data. So now let's console.log and see what we are getting inside this notification variable. So console.log, and we'll write notification. And when we save this, okay, it's saying use state is not defined. So first of all, we need to define use state along with use effect, and since use effect is defined previously, we just need to define use state. Now the error is gone. Yeah. So now after doing that, we can go to our browser and check for the thing, like if it is working or not. So for that, let's create another open another browser with the same localhost 3000, and in the first one, let's log in with the username Ishan, and in the other one, let's log in with Kritik. And now when we log in from both of them, I'll yeah. So I'll be in the IDs of Kritik, and then I'll comment on my basically comment on the click on the comment button of Ishan Das. So in Ishan Das's so in this browser, when I open source code, I can see an array, and the array will have sender name as Kritik, because Kritik has sent the has basically sent the notification, basically sent the did the event, and type is true. That means comment has been done. That this is basically the meaning of that. And we can do again, like if we click on this, then there will be yeah, like if we go here, and if in Kritik's Modi I press share, then in this browser's source code, I'll be seeing sender name as Ishan and type 3. That means it's share. So yeah, this is working. After doing this, we'll go to the main.js file, and yeah, no, actually we'll go to our navbar.js file, and now we need to create another div for the notification. So let's create another div of maybe a name. So in our project, we are only left with the open and set open functionality. So let's create a new use state hook with open and set open variables respectively. And we will initially set the value of this open variable to null, or maybe we can use false. Yeah. So after that, we can go down, and yeah, so after that we can give a conditional rendering for this notifications division, and we can write open, and we can place the whole this whole notification div inside this open. Yeah. And now when we save this, whenever the value of this open will be true, then only this notification part will act functional. So now what we need to do is we should go to our icons division in our return block. Yeah, this is the icons division, and we will add a functionality of on click, and inside of this we will just set the value of open by using set open to reverse of open. So now whenever the value of open is true, it will automatically make it to false, and therefore the functionality of this notification will primarily depend on this open variable. Yeah, and we should be providing we should provide an arrow function here for the proper working of this on click function. Now I think the mostly everything of every aspect of our project is completed, and let's go check out the demo. Yeah, so after that we can like see the live demo, basically the demonstration of our project. And yeah, so first of all, let's refresh this and log in with the name Ishan in the first browser, and the second one with Kritik. So now in whenever from the ID Ishan, if I do press any of the three buttons, like if I press share button of Kritik Modi's post, then whenever I open the Kritik Modi's notification, I can see Ishan shared your post. So he'll get a notification, and when Kritik like presses any button, like if he presses the like button of for my post and I open my notification, I'll get Kritik liked your post. So yeah, this is the basic functionality. And one more thing, we need to make these default numbers some like dynamic values, and for that we will go to our navbar.js and we will replace this to with notification.length. Notifications.length. Yeah, and we'll do the same with this comment button as well as share button also. Notifications.length, and here also notifications.length. Sorry, this will be in inside curly braces. Yeah, now when we save this and we go to back to our project and we refresh, and now like when I join with the name Ishan and here with the name Kritik. So initially all the notifications will be 0, and as soon as I press any of the notification, any of the button of Kritik Modi's post, like if I press the comment button, then automatically the messages part will automatically, all of them will like turn to 1, and when I click them I can see Ishan commented on your post. So yeah, this is basically the functionality of our project. So yeah, div of class name notification, and inside this div notification we will write, so inside this notification div we will be writing notification dot map, and sorry, map, and this will take n value, and yeah, and we will like map through all the notifications one together. But before that we need to perform we need to display this notification display one functionality. Yeah, so now we will create a function of the name display notification, and we can like do it here. We'll write const display notifications, and inside of this we will be sending two parameters, sender name along with a type. What was the type of it? So sender name and type will be sending, and this will be an arrow function. So basically inside of this we will like just create a variable with the name action, and now we will check if the type is either 1, 2 or 3, and based on the type we will assign the action that they have performed or display the notification based on that. So if the action, if the type is 1, like if type is equal to 1, then in that case the action will be set to liked. Let's keep it small l. Yeah. And other than that, we'll use else if um, type is 2, then in that case we'll write action is equal to commented, and else action will be shared. Yeah. And after writing all these three, we will be returning a value. So we'll perform return, and we'll give it a class name. We will return a spam, basically a span tag, and inside of this we'll write span and give it a class name of maybe notification, and we will be the data that we'll be sending will be will be dynamic. So we will put backticks, and then we'll write the name of the user that is sender, or basically the sender name, and then we'll write the action that he performed, action your post. So this will work fine. Okay, now when we save this, yeah, so in place of this, here we will write notification. So we can like just write display notification, display notifications. Yeah, so now this will work fine. Yeah, one more thing, let's keep it inside an parenthesis, this n. Yeah, now this is correct. So after doing this, what we need to do is, yeah, one more thing is that we need to send the notification also, that n also we need to send whatever the notification we have got. We need to display, we need to send each and every notification to this display notification function, and this display notification function will check if it is 1, 2 or 3, and accordingly it will show the data of in a span tag. So basically this is the functionality. Now we'll go to our CSS file, basically the app.css, and inside this we will target our notification class, and yeah, and inside of this we will give it a position of absolute, along with top to be maybe 50 pixels, and sorry, 50 pixels, and right will be set to 0, and the background color, yeah, we need to set a background color. So let's set the background color to maybe Alice blue, and color will be black, and font weight, we can give the font weight to be 300, and display, so display will be flex as always, and flex direction will be column, column. And the last thing that we will do, maybe we can give it a padding of maybe 10 pixels. Yeah, so now when we save this, we'll maybe log in Ishan, and here we can log in with Kritik. Yeah, yeah, Ishan should be capital, because then it would not be able to find the name Ishan. Yeah, now I'll click on Kritik's, and currently there is nothing shown. So because we need to do a couple of things, so for that